Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we fight noise interference from the microphone, where we look for headlines from our city, state, and country to find out what's going on out there, where we have a look at your questions, ideas, and suggestions on how to best connect with our city, with our way of life, with each other as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, and as always, it is a pleasure to see you. It is also a pleasure to welcome anybody that is watching live for the first time. You know to say hello to us if you care to. Just write the word new in your comment and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. And also, if there's something really important that you're thinking about, I always get confused whether I should say in your mind or on your mind. What's on your mind? I think it's on. If there's something really important on your mind, that you wish there are things in your mind. Never mind. You want our attention at a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment, and we'll be looking for that during our comment section later on. Today we have important news. We have silly news. We have, can you believe that news? We have all kinds of news that I'm just ready to share with you. So we might as well get going with the news section. Well, the big news this morning, and one that is covered both locally and statewide, is the fact that another stretch of the new highway connecting Puerto Vallarta with Guadalajara has opened for circulation. This is the stretch that goes from La Cruz de Guanacaxtli to Las Varas. And with this stretch alone, it is said that the overall trip time is now reduced by 40 additional minutes. I suppose it is small steps in the right direction. If I am reading this properly, this must be the step that takes place once you've passed all the traffic lights through bucerias and so forth and so on, and where you used to enter the curved section right before you get to Sayulita. So the last time I came back from Guadalajara, I saw that it looked almost ready to open. And it seems that's exactly what has happened. We'll have to schedule another trip to Guadalajara, or at least to some points north of the city, to check it out in person. If anybody can confirm this, if you've been on that road lately, please let us know. Now, we recently reported of a new production deal with Netflix that will bring a number of film and TV projects to our city. Now, Puerto Vallarta's Municipal Tourism Office is reporting that other projects from Amazon and Apple are also headed locally, bringing a considerable amount of revenue to our city. But not all is pretty out there. The constant meddling of our mayor's son in city official affairs has reached a breaking point. And now the city council has had enough of this practice, which, of course, is illegal. In a regular council meeting, council member Carla Esparza reminded Mayor Michel that nobody in his family is entitled to give orders to public servants, adding that there's more than enough written and photographic evidence of the practice, not to mention the fact that one of his sons was seen less than a week ago distributing food items with political intentions. She also added that if any municipal employees are spotted following orders by any member of the mayor's family, that person will be denounced. In another article, Mayor Michel was quoted saying something along the lines of, well, don't follow their orders, which is typical plain dumb behavior of his, if you ask me. And this is another funny one. So there are municipal laws governing the noise level coming from local businesses and even homes. I think many of us have been subjected to excessive noise at nighttime, whether it's coming from private parties or whether it's coming from bars and discos around the city. And of course, there is specialized equipment available to measure the sound levels when reports are made, and our city owns such equipment. But have you ever wondered why, despite reports being made, nothing changes? Well, Puerto Vallarta syndic Juan Carlos Hernandez Salazar, looking puzzled in this photograph, has been wondering just that, particularly since the aforementioned council member Carla Esparza recently presented an initiative to train all city inspectors on how to use the gadget that measures sound levels. So Syndic Hernandez said, and I quote, I don't mean to be sarcastic, but you don't need that much training. I mean, there is a little gadget, you turn it on, and it measures sound decibels. What is needed here is actually implementing the law and making changes happen. And you know what is the excuse that the city's reglamentos or permit office uses? They say that ecology inspectors only work Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., whereas most of the complaints against loud noise are made late at night during the weekends. And bar owners aren't stupid. They see inspectors heading their way and they turn the music down. And I quote, it is finally official. After much negotiation between the government of Mexico and Tesla representatives, including owner Elon Musk, a so-called gigafactory is coming to Mexico and will be built in the state of Nuevo León, where President López Obrador was reluctant to give the go-ahead to the project due to ongoing water shortages in that state. López Obrador would have wanted the factory to go in the state of Hidalgo near his new airport, but Tesla wouldn't budge. The new factory will bring to the state of Nuevo León much prosperity through different jobs, direct jobs, and also to the industrial supply chain required for such a manufacturer to produce their vehicles. And of course, talking about our president and federal issues, Plan B is now official. We have been discussing the electoral reform proposed by President López Obrador, and his new Plan B is now law, as it's been published in the country's official journey. Now, moving forward, whether the Independent Electoral Institute is indeed behaving as an independent entity or whether it is politically biased, as President López Obrador has been suggesting, only time will tell. So, oh, damn, that's harsh. We'll get to the comments in a second. But first, boom, let us turn over to the weather. It's the perfect temperature outside, but you'll probably spend all day inside stalking people on Facebook. Not me. I don't stalk people on Facebook unless they're really, really cute. 25 degrees right now. Humidity is low at 49%. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 78. And our weather forecast for today says partly cloudy through the day with a high of 29 and a low of 16. Friday is clear through the day with a high of 28 and a low of 16. And then Saturday will be also a partly cloudy day with a high of 28 and a low of 16. Going back to our news, somebody had recently commented or asked actually about the new wine festival that is coming up. We have been talking about the Raicilla Festival, and we've mentioned it here at Coffee and Headlines before. But now we have new information about the upcoming Vinoma Fest, which is expected, according to organizers, to attract over 4,000 visitors. The festival will include the participation of 40 national winemakers with over 200 different wine brands from Querétaro, Baja California, San Luis Potosí, Coahuila, Guanajuato, and of course our very own state, Jalisco. The Vinoma Wine Festival will take place from March 8th to the 12th, and I have found their Facebook page for you to stay informed of venues, locations, and details. And now I have a question for all of us to discuss. This was brought to my attention last night. I received a personal message from a dear friend from the cluster. And as usual, when this could be of interest to more of us than just this particular person, we try to bring it up here on the broadcast. And the message read, Hola Paco, may I ask for your advice? Please, I am starting a photo series and will need to have them professionally printed. I'm thinking at least 16 by 20 inches and preferably archival stock. Would you recommend print PV here in Versalles? Do you have any other vendors that you would recommend? Thank you, Paco. Much appreciated. Well, I gotta tell you, this is a topic that is dear to my heart, as you may remember the time in which we used to be able to go to Costco and get photographs printed in all sizes and posters and so forth and so on in photographic material. But then even before the pandemic, Costco stopped offering that service. Now, this person asks specifically about Print PV. Print PV in Versalles is a very well-known company that produces promotional goods. But I ran into a dear friend of mine that works as the manager at Print PV the other day, and I asked him, do you have archival paper or do you have photographic printers? And he told me, we don't. We have an inkjet printer, and that is the quality that we have. It's worked well for some people, but not for others. Personally, I side with photographic printers, and I know that there are a number of mail order services, both in Mexico and north of the border, that provides this service. But I don't know of anyone here in Puerto Vallarta that is providing photographic printing services of any kind. I may have seen some photo booths at a local drugstore, but I don't remember. So my question to you, Cluster, would be, do you get photos printed anymore? And if you do, where and how do you get them printed? It occurs to me that if this was still a priority for myself, I'd probably bring a bunch of photos on a USB stick to Guadalajara next time I go to the city, where there are a number of places downtown where you can just drop your order and pick it up just as one used to do. Staples, says Chris Brewer. We don't have Staples in Puerto Vallarta. Do we have Staples in Puerto Vallarta? Interesting. Well, I'll be looking at your comments as soon as we get to the comment section. But first, I do want to tell you that on a day like today, but in 1959, three extraordinary musicians met at a recording studio in New York City and proceeded to record one of the truly extraordinary masterpiece albums in the jazz repertoire. Of course, we are talking about Miles Davis, John Coltrane, and Bill Evans, who produced Miles Davis' Kind of Blue. And this album, like Dave Brubeck's Time Out or John Coltrane's Giant Steps, did not just introduce amazing innovations to jazz. These three albums and several others continue to influence generations of musicians in jazz and other music genres. Do you know what makes this album special? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if you attend my upcoming How to Listen to Jazz lecture, shameless self promotion, I know, you're going to learn a lot about this album, and you're going to learn a lot about how to listen to jazz, what kinds of jazz is out there, and what makes it so fascinating and special. So there you have it. And as long as we're talking about music appreciation lectures, as I mentioned yesterday, the cat is now out of the bag, and we have produced publicity for our upcoming panel discussion with Raíces, the folkloric music group that took home the first prize at the So You Think You Can Rise talent competition this past Sunday. I am so looking forward to sitting down and talking to the musicians in this group. I personally have all kinds of questions, from the way they tune their instruments. The harp player comes from South America, so I'm curious as to overlap between the folkloric roots in his country and ours. I think he's from Colombia. Um, I wonder how the musicians got into this type of music to begin with. I have all kinds of questions that I want to ask them, and I hope you do too. So this is going to be a really fun panel discussion, demonstration of their instruments, and Q&A with them. All the proceeds from this event, which is, as all my music lectures, 300 pesos per person, are going to be directed to the musicians, not to me. This is my personal way of paying forward and helping them develop their career as best as possible. So I hope you are intrigued as intrigued about Mexican folkloric music as I am, and I hope you will join us in this event, which will be, of course, part of the Joint Co-working Hotel's Adult Education Wing, Grow by Joint. And with that said, let us switch over to your comments to see what's on your mind. And I see a lot of good mornings, which is absolutely beautiful. Let's see what else we have. Oh, Sherry is back home doing her usual stuff. Sherry, I was so grateful to hear from you yesterday and learn that your exploration in the Guadalajara metropolitan area was successful. Boom, 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 boom. Lots of chit chat. I don't see any cues. Let's see. Brian comments on some filming going on in the Bay. I don't know exactly where, but again, I understand from the article that there was some production going on around Mismaloya. And let's see. Logan comments, how very Logan Roy of Mayor Michel. Well, this is a reference to the wonderful HBO show Succession, which we mentioned just the other day. This made me jolt a little bit. Jeff, on the issue of noise, says, if you don't like the noise, move. And I wonder how that type of statement has worked for you in conversation, Jeff. I often hear people that are not from Mexico complaining about this, that, and the other. And if you turn around and you say to them, well, if you don't like it in Mexico, just move. And that comment never goes that well in conversation. I appreciate it, Jeff. I appreciate your statement. But as Albert said, it's not always as simple as that. What about that disco blasting place on the Malecon? Which one of them all? There's a bunch of them over there. So I couldn't comment on that because I don't know exactly which one you are referring to. But again, the problem with noise is that there are laws in place. And if there are laws in place, they are there to be followed, not necessarily for people to get their panties all twisted and say, I don't like this, I'm going to move somewhere else. That's what the law is for. Let's move right along. Again, Chris Brewer said Staples, but we don't have Staples here. Office Max with a question mark. Let's see. Logan recommends print PV. I have actually seen large format reproductions, photographic reproductions that were printed at print PV that are used to decorate a beautiful condo that is owned by an acquaintance in Molino de Agua. But it also boils down to exactly what you're looking for. Let's see. This brings us to the end of your comments. Yay! So today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. We have another day, and we will continue to enjoy this week. I hope that today is a wonderful day for you, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow morning. As always, thank you for all your points of view. Thank you for all your comments. When they are nurturing and positive, they always enrich the experience here at Coffee and Headlines, and we are so very grateful for that. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.